Alright, TNA Impact. Look, I'm not going to tell you the show was bad. I want to make this not too long because I'm not exactly feeling very well. I think I ate something that really did not agree with me, so my stomach hurts. So I'm trying to make this as short as possible. But I had to do this video because I watched it. San Antonio was good. The crowd was fun. The wrestling was good. The storylines were not too bad. But the lighting, dude, I am sorry. The most important match there needed to be better than that. Well, it was more than the lighting. I mean, the audio was not good either. There was a lot of echo. You cannot tell me they couldn't fix the echo. They couldn't. There was nothing but mostly echo every time when they did a segment in the ring or outside the ring. It was bad. But the lighting for one match screwed up so bad. And I can give you, if anybody says there was nothing they could do, yes, there was. And I will give an example of what it is when we get there. But I am going to tell you, and it's positive. Overall, the camera work was alright. The wrestling was good. Not great, but good. We got good outcomes with certain storylines. Admittedly, a little strange when it comes to Sinner and Saint. Because this is like the first time we're really getting anything from them. And I don't even remember the last time they were on TV. It was months ago. And legitimately, I think they came on TV maybe once, maybe twice. I can't remember. It's good to see them, but it felt like they should have had a real important debut than just being say they've been on the Raw. They've been around a couple of times with the limited time they had. I don't think that was right to do. I think they should have made it feel like an important thing. Since they may be showing more of them, they should feel like a real debut. But let's get to the beginning of the show. Let me give it to you like this. I am going to talk about the first match. Let's go with First Class with Sin and Saint. Let's make it clear. I don't remember the guys' names. But what did we get from Sin and Saints going up against First Class? They were good. They're not bad wrestlers. The question is going to be how they're going to book them. Now, Casey Lavara, and I'm beginning to remember his name now. He has something I like. He has a lot of charisma. There ain't no lie about it. Yes, he's a high flyer. There's no lying about that. That's what he is. He is a high flyer, but he's a high flyer with charisma. There's one problem a lot of high flyers really have an issue with. They either do not know how to have charisma, or they do not know how to do psychology. They can get the flying in the ring right, but never one or the other, or better yet, both. Right now, Casey has the charisma down. When it comes to the psychology in the ring, I just don't think he's there yet. Even if he's been in the business 10 years, don't think he's got it yet. I don't think he's never had to worry about it because he's worked at independents and they don't worry too much about cameras. But when you're doing like TNA, AEW, TKO, WWE, camera is important because that is where you get your real money from. Because no matter what you say about the arenas, which they do pull in a lot of money, remember, merchandise, getting good camera shots, getting people to see you on TV is more important in many cases. It is shifted. So you got to remember that. So the match was fine with them and Casey. Still, look at AJ Francis. I'm not even against the guy. I actually like the guy. He's very charismatic. He's a decent big man when he does it right. But he's still doing Tennessee whiskey. I remember the move now. I hate that move because of how badly he was ridiculed because of it. I would rather see him retire it for a little while and do another move. Hell, I would rather see him do a damn swanton. The guy can do that. I'd rather see him do another move in the ring that you would not think it for him to do. Because I don't like to see him do Tennessee whiskey. I don't think he would ever look at a little guy like me or even listen to a little guy like me. And to be honest, I'm talking about as a YouTuber, not by side. Because I'll be like his kid. He's here, I'm here. But it's not the point. The point is, I would tell him, look, dude, I ain't your enemy here. I'm not. But for people who watched you in WWE, we still remember what they did to you. This isn't about if you look like a bitch doing that damn move. You look like a moron doing the move. It's the point that they ridiculed you and made it into a damn storyline that never went anywhere. Then they released your ass. And there's a lot of people who still remember that. They're not looking at you for who you are, for those who remember like myself. And I would rather you retire the move for a little while, do another move, keep it away for a couple of, maybe about a year or two, at least 2 years, to give it time to show that you have more in your toolbox. Because you can talk. You can get a segment over. You can't wrestle. That choke slam of yours, grabbing whoever it is, and basically bitch slamming that motherfucker like a toy, is beautiful. It's one of the best I've seen from anybody recently in the last, 10 years, other than The Undertaker or somebody else, or Kane. You're one of the best ones I've seen do it in a long time, and I want to see you add more to the repertoire that either you don't do often anymore, or something new, like that Swanton you did when you were dealing before in the last match you had. But you doing Tennessee Whiskey is not helping your case. I'm legitimately not against you, but please. Now, let's move on. You know who won. It was First Class. Let's move on to Matt Cardona versus Rhino. Let me give it to you like this. Due to Steph DeLander having to go and get neck surgery, there is no way they can continue the storyline. They just can't. They can have their feud between the two, but it will never end until Steph comes back and they talk about that contract. They will bring Matt Cardona back. If he goes away for a while and then comes back, or if he stays with TNA for a while, it don't matter. Eventually that contract is going to be used to end the story between Steph DeLander, PCO, and Matt Cardona. If they don't go anywhere, if Matt doesn't come back, then they're going to have to scrap the entire storyline. It'll be like Steph never had a problem with Matt Cardona, and PCO has never really meant anything to Steph due to the fact of what's been going on. They would have to scrap the entire thing. They're going to put it on hold until she comes back. Because if they continue the story without her, it's never going to feel right. Unless Steph comes back after already having next story. Let's say she comes back 3 or 4 months, but does not wrestle and becomes a manager only, because she could do that. If she goes and gets the neck surgery in the next couple of weeks or the next month, and then she spends 3 or 4 months at home, comes back as a non-wrestling character on TNA, and they finally end the story with that contract, then they can do that. But until then, they're stuck. And when you see this match, what did they do with Rhino? Rhino literally goes under the ring, gets a chair, throws in the ring. Gonna nail Matt Cardona, but Matt Cardona nails him. And then we get the madness of PCO when, how can I say this? PCO doing his interpretation of Ric Flair with his jacket, because you know how, woo, jumping on his damn jacket, doing every move that he normally does with somebody, but with his jacket. You get PCO doing his moves with a damn chair. I'm not saying it's bad, but here's the problem. If the contract is not involved in this, they're just doing straight matches, they need to end this until Steph comes back. One of them has to go away and comes back until Steph can do this, because they can't drag this out for 10 months. Not unless they have really good story written for this situation, which I do not see the TNA writing team being able to write for 10 months before Steph DeLander comes back. They're going to drop this after the match, probably at Bound for Glory, and then they'll pick it back up when Steph comes back. I'm just saying. Next. What can I say when it comes to the match that really doesn't mean much? Yes, we are getting NXT wrestlers on TNA. We got, what was it? Bright and, what is her name? What was her name? Kayla Gray and Harley Bright. I've seen them both before. I really haven't paid much attention because they really don't have much story. They're just shown in the back in the locker room a little bit. They're not bad wrestlers, but they got nothing yet. They have not built them yet. They're just characters in the background that sometimes get a match. They don't really get anything yet. They're still new. So we get them against Spitfire, which is fine. This is what I've been talking about for quite a while. When it comes to the women, when it comes to the knockouts, they need fresh meat. They need fresh meat in that damn division. It doesn't make a difference. It's a tag division. Excuse me. or the actual knockouts division. They need more women to come in and job for the current roster there. It is necessary. And when you see this, it's a good thing to see. I have no problem with it. I'm actually happy that they have this. And in the end, what did you think? Did you actually think Spitfire was going to give in to a team that came from NXT? They weren't. But here's the difference between TNA and NXT. We just got sent two of the lowest hanging fruit from NXT. This Thursday, we had Who Job for not the first time, not the second time, but now the third time in a tag match. Rosemary, one of the most prominent women in TNA. One of the most prominent women in TNA, no matter if you think she's one of the best or not. She's prominent, she's loved, and she's now jobbed on NXT TV not once, not twice, now 3 times. And yes, Ariana Grace said after the incident was going on in the beginning of the show that now, and I'll explain about that in a few minutes, but now we're going to have a match that's going to have technically a Jordynne Grace with a mystery partner from NXT, along with... This is where you wonder, are they going to put over Rosemary to set up for Bound for Glory or not? Because it's going to be Rosemary and Wendy Chu. So it's going to be a big question. What are we really getting? I do not know. Let's move on. We get... Let me do the 6-person tag. We get the System and Tasha Steelz versus Hardy's. Excuse me. Like I said, my stomach is messed up. If I belch, I'm sorry. And Marsha Slamovich. Opening of the show, we get pretty much Alicia Edwards talking. Saying she is pissed off that she lost her titles. It's all due to Marsha. Marsha comes out. Girl is ripped. That woman got abs of freaking steel. Look, I've never said that Marsha Slamovich is an ugly woman. She may not have no boobies, but she doesn't have to. She's actually a very beautiful woman. I don't think she really needs the nose ring, though. Honestly, she doesn't really need any rings or anything. She has an actual natural beauty. She may not be a chesty woman. She doesn't really need to be. She's actually quite pretty. But when you see her walking up to the ring and having a freaking 6-pack the way she does, that woman's got a better 6-pack than most men. She had to bust her ass in the gym to get that. And she gets into the ring. She shows that. And finally, I don't know who it was. I don't care who it was. They said, you know what? Marsha has been talking Russian for so long. Let her speak English. Thank you. Finally, we know she speaks English. She speaks very fluent English, whether she learned it when she came to America or learned it back in Russia, doesn't matter. She speaks it. Finally, they're letting her do it. Finally, they're giving her some type of character development as a face. Finally, the girl can talk. She says, I can't stand you. I can't stand anything you say. I never liked you. And then she gets attacked by Tasha Steelz. Then the System comes out. Then the Hardys come out. And that's when Ariana Grace, well, after Jordynne Grace comes out to help Marsha Slamovich, where they were all, when those two were cornered, that is when Hardys come out. That's when Ariana Grace and Santino, her dad, comes out and sets up the match. The match was fine. I'm not going to tell you that the match was bad. It wasn't. Lighting, you already know what the lighting was like. And I'll talk about that in the last match, which is the Texas Death Match. But you could tell what I'm talking about when it came to the fans. It was a good match. The faces win. Not surprised. And I'm glad to see they're finally doing something with Marsha Slamovich. Finally dropping that she is speaking just Russian. Hell, when we saw her in the back with Jordynne Grace, with the Hardys, and she said, it is wild to me that a little child, and she showed a picture of herself to the Hardys and to us, the fans, saying that this little girl would actually be wrestling alongside the people that she loved when she was young. That means a lot. That is a little bit of character development that we get. Now, is it the most unique? No, but it doesn't have to be. It's Wrestling 101. Use real life as a face to help to get your character over. Good. Now, let's talk about the stuff that happened in segments. Let me give it to you like this. What did I think about Kaz, Nick, and Joe Henry? I'm not surprised what Joe Henry said, that he wants to be champion. I am not surprised about the king of TNA talking the smack that he normally does. And I'm not surprised Nick Nimitz came out. They got to give Nick someone to go up against during Bound for Glory. I will tell you this. I'm not having a problem seeing him show respect to Joe Henry because they're both faces. That's no problem. Seeing Nick tell him take off those damn glasses. It's not dark in here. It's not the sun's out. I wish kind of Kaz says, oh, you don't like my glasses? He says, no, why are you wearing them? Says, well, when you're this cool, the sun shines on you 24 hours a day. Actually, someone told me that one day, and I used to do it my damn self. I'm not saying I was cool or anything, but I did wear sunglasses at one point. Someone said, why are you wearing glasses? It ain't bright out here. So I was wearing something quite nice. They're saying, oh, you trying to show off? Why are you wearing glasses? I said, well, when you're cool, the sun shines on you 24 hours a day. They got a big laugh out of that, which it is funny, but it is kind of true. When you look good, you want to look good in the right way. To be honest, that was one of the few times I ever did that. I think I've done it 3 times. I get very awkward about trying to be dressy. But I wish they had done that. Santino comes out. He says, you know what? We need to deal with this. Kaz versus Joe Henry. Whoever wins goes up against Nick Nimitz at Bound for Glory. And I messed up on like that. For the glory. Because that is Santino Marella. He messes up his hands and messes up his nose and messes up everything. He talks worse than I do. But you get my point. Now, what am I forgetting? Ash of Elegance. With a cowgirl hat. That basically looks like cow skin. Dealing with a Heather Do I think this is going to work with Heather Reckless asking to be a part of the influence of Ash of Elegance? I don't know. It might work. We're talking about Ash of Elegance, who is hamming it up way more than she should. And that's the purpose of her character. She's over the top thinking that she's the most hottest shit there is. And let's not, we're not going to lie, because she is like this. Let's be honest. The girl has come out in certain clothes that you could see certain parts of her body. And she probably knew that the camera could pick up certain parts of her body, namely her own nipples and almost her own crotch. Now, that's part of her character. She's trying to be over the top, sexy, elegant, seductress. That's what she's doing. And now we got Rachel Reckless wanted to be a part of that. So next week, we're going to get her easily having Ash and the Iceman, the concierge, going to be watching the match between her and Zyborg Side. That's what we're getting. Next, which is going to be the last thing I'm going to talk about, because I know I can talk about what happened with Josh Alexander and Eric Young. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to speculate if Josh is now turned face again. I'm not. I'm leaving it. Because there's still stuff we're not knowing yet. He could attack, but I don't know. Last match. The Texas Death Match. Excuse me. Told you, not feeling well. My stomach, I ate something that just told my stomach, what did you just feed me? Fuck you. I'm going to get sick. That's what I got. But, Texas Death Match. Santana. See, when you get gas and you don't feel well, mine tends to wander. Santana versus a Dirty Dango. Let me give you like this. Was this a bad street fight? Well, not street fight. I mean Texas Death Match. I'm sorry. This match, you had to pin your opponent and they had to stay down at the count of 10 afterward. It was a good match. I'm not going to tell you it was bad. I actually was enjoying it until they went to where it was past the fans. Where they were up on different parts of the arena, up steps that was completely dark. And if anybody says, well, they couldn't do anything with the lighting. Bullshit. You know what they could have done? And this is very simple. You know what they could have done? They could have had on themselves an LED spotlight with a battery bank right with the cameraman, because understand, it wasn't like they didn't know this was going to be a Texas death match, and it wasn't like they didn't know that they could easily go amongst the fan because it's a Texas death match. They could have had a power pack, a battery pack, with a spotlight that was LED lights fixed to be as wide as possible when the cameramen were going to have to watch them go outside the sphere of the lighting they chose, because they chose to have the most dimmest lights in there. And if anybody says it gives ambiance, you don't need ambiance when you have a full fucking arena. Everybody keeps saying they're selling out arenas. Why don't they fucking show it? I'm angry because all this time we barely saw filled arenas. They always kept the lightings low. Now they're selling out arenas and they refuse to show the damn fans. If one of the arenas was almost 3,000 people, why are you letting the lights be so low that you could not see the damn match and them freaking bleeding all over the damn place? What is the point of the Texas Death Match if you can't watch it? Or a street fight when they start wandering amongst the people? And you can fix the problem by just getting an LED spotlight that someone could be carrying with them because you knew what the match was going to be. It wasn't done at the last minute. This was pre-recorded, guys. They already scheduled this. They could have gotten a battery bank or a battery pack with a LED spotlight that can go over 5 to 10,000 lumens. You can probably spend $200 to $600 buying one. They supposedly getting a better budget. Where the fuck did it go? So do not tell me that this was great and there was no problem with the lighting, because me, you at home didn't see all of it because it was so dark. And they kept zooming in on it like freaking idiots, thinking they can get people to see it at home when they couldn't. So it was bullshit. Bullshit. They know what they're doing. What they did for Victory Road was the best show that TNA Plus has ever produced, because the production was done correctly. That was the best production work I've seen. It was not about the characters or the wrestling. The lighting was fine. The camera work was fine. The audio was done correctly. All of it worked so well, I had to say it was the best TNA Plus show they produced. It wasn't the greatest show they produced, but it was the best you could see, hear, and experience. This match and a few other matches, when they went near the fans, you couldn't see the fans when you were at home. What is the point when you sell out damn arenas and the people who are also contributing to you actually becoming better? Because it's not about the people at the arenas. I'm sorry, guys. It's not about the people at the arenas. It's actually us. Where do you think they get their real money from? You think it's from the damn arenas they're selling out? You actually think the arenas are where they're getting their most money from? It's freaking us. The people who are paid for the damn app and who's also paying for any type of service to see it, like TNA Plus, Fightful, if you're getting it that way, or for YouTube or any other means. We're paying for it all. We want to see. And if they keep doing it like this, selling out arenas where they don't even want to show the freaking arena, they'll show maybe a dark red light or not show anything, what is the damn point of being told, oh, we're selling out arenas, we don't see it? Good show. Most of the booking was fine. It wasn't bad, but come on. You cannot tell me that was right. Peace.